to our tutorial on Final Cut Pro. We hope to do some deep learning here today. In the last video we imported our media, and what I found out was that I had imported it into this old project that I had, or this old event that I had called Battery Thief, which was also in a different library, and that would cause some problems because the libraries and events store all the raw media along with the editing that I do, and I'm actually trying to work on Sunrise up here, and so it's like if I started doing my editing with the Sunrise project and that's up here and the media is actually saved in a different library, it could get a little complicated. So what I want to do is move my clips over to the Sunrise event, and that's really easy. All I got to do is click, and then I hold Shift, click, and I select all of them, or if I wanted to just do individual ones, I could do Command click. But if I hold one, hold Shift, click the top one, it selects everything in between, and then I just drag them over to the Sunrise event, and they're going to make a copy. So that means I'm going to have a lot of extra space taken up on my computer, just because these clips are now on my computer in the Battery Thief library, and now I have copies of them in the Sunrise library as well. I might want to try to find a way to delete them out of that other library. So the main point is, when you import, make sure you have the right event selected. Well, bygones are bygones, and I have now in the Sunrise event my Sunrise project and clips, and it's time to start adding things. I can just, to add things to the timeline, I can click and drag on the edges of my clips up here to select just the part that I want to bring into the timeline, like that. Or if I just click on it, I can drag the whole darn thing in there. And I have my three shots. I have my wide shot, my medium shot, and then the close-up of the sign. And if I want to, then once they're in, I can also trim by just clicking and dragging on the edges of these clips. Okay, there are other options. If you look at these little buttons down here, if I wanted to insert a clip in between two other clips, I should be able to take my cursor. And by the way, my cursor is set with magnetic snap. So as I get close to this edit point, bam, it just snaps into place. Oh snap. And the reason it does that is if you go to the far right-hand side of the screen, it might be different in your version of Final Cut Pro. But it looks like a magnet with little lines and it says snapping. Oh snap. And if I take that off for more precision editing near the edges of clips, I might need to do that. But for a lot of what I'm doing, the rough edits of just putting things into place, snapping is nice. So like if I wanted to insert an extra clip between two others, I could snap my cursor right into place. And then what I could do is select the clip up here and then hit one of these buttons. This one here, as you can tell, says, hey, put it between those two clips. Whamma-lamma ding dong, it came in between the two clips. I don't want that, so I'm just going to hit Command Z to undo that. But I just wanted to show you those are options. You select a clip and you can hit one of those buttons for insert or overlay kind of editing. Okay, as I was showing you, I can trim the clips to get the proper amount of length here. Each clip, maybe if I want just something like that. See what the pace of your show deserves, when people will get bored with one shot and they need to see the next shot. Something like that. And then what I can do is play it. And then maybe I wanted just not to have all this natural sound. I want to adjust the audio real quickly. What I can do is click and drag on the audio bar right down here. And I just drag that down. We'll do more work with audio later on, but for that I can adjust the levels of the clips or just turn them all the way down. Nice, huh? Well, one thing that Final Cut Pro does is it doesn't let me, I guess I should say it doesn't let me do it, is move stuff around. This first track that we have here, they sometimes call it the narrative spine. You're just piecing the pieces of video together to create the basis of your story, and we'll be able to add B-roll and other kinds of video connected to these clips. But this is sort of like This is the spine. This is the heart of the story, the main storyline, the narrative. And it doesn't let you have any spaces in between things. You can rearrange things, but if I want to space things out a little bit, maybe I want a little bit of black in between these, I need to change to a different tool. I can click here and go to Position Tool. And now in the Position Tool, I can drag, and what it does is it creates a clip of black in between. If I want to drag over here, it does overlay editing. So it just overlays whatever I'm there. If I drag on top of here, it's going to cut off that bottom clip, that back clip. And so you can do some damage with that, but it allows you to move stuff around. The more I move it, the more black space I get. Okay, and to go back and forth between the positioning tool and then the selector tool was the original one I have. I can go to this menu, but shortcut keys are really nice. So I'm in the positioning tool, and it's not letting me, whoops, look at that. I told you I could be destructive with this. It's not letting me like adjust the length of the black. It only allows me to adjust the length of these video clips, but I want to adjust the length of the black. Well, I need to go back to the selector tool. That is A. I think of A like a pointer. The little tail appeared. So now I can adjust that, and I can adjust clips, and maybe I'm just, have a little fade to black by that last clip. Maybe this one I don't want to have any kind of a black in between. Something like that. And remember, use your transitions deliberately, conscientiously. Don't just throw in fades, dissolves, things like that just for the sake of why not. Remember, you're communicating certain things with those. You're trying to create a certain effect. So what we have here, by default, we have a cut. So if you watch, see how the one shot just replaced the other? What if I wanted to make that into a dissolve? Well, what I can do is go to the right-hand side of the screen, and I have different options over here. And one of the options is transitions. Now my screen looks a little different than yours, but what I can do is go to installed transitions, and here it gives me different transitions. So a cross dissolve is what I want. So I can drag that and place that right on top of that edit point, and now watch, cross dissolve. One picture blends into the next. Now remember, you can only do a cross dissolve if you got a little bit of video trimmed from the end of each clip. So let me show you that real quickly here. I'm just dragging the full clips down, so I haven't trimmed anything. And if I try to do a cross dissolve, it's going, can't do it, you haven't trimmed anything. It's like, as I'm fading this video clip out, what do I show? There's nothing there. As I fade this video clip in, what do I show from the previous shot? There's nothing there. But if I trim some of this back, that video still exists, it's just invisible now. And I trim some of this clip back, that video still exists, it's just invisible. So now if I put the cross dissolve in, I can even drag on the corners of these to make it bigger. Now you can see, I'm hitting spacebar, by the way, to play and stop. Some of that video that I trimmed away is starting to show through now. And that's why you have to trim and make sure you shoot extra footage before and after each shot, just so you have a little something in case you want to do dissolves like that. So that's a dissolve. Say you want to have a fade at the end of your shot. I can go to fade to color and just drag that on my final clip. And as I play, fades to black. I created this black space between these two clips right here. So I could do a dissolve to the black and dissolve out to create a fade. Or if I wanted to just do a fade to color, there's no trim, nothing trimmed there. Let me delete this black space. So I'm selecting the black space, hitting the delete key. And now if I just do a fade to color, I'll trim it up a little bit. Trim that, trim a little bit there. Shave in a haircut, 2 bits. Now I can drop it on there, and Final Cut will put in that little dip to black for me. So we'll see how that goes. Fade to black, fade back up. What happens if we make it a little bigger? It'll just eat up a little bit more of the video clips. Okay, so that's using cuts, dissolves, and fades. I'm going to shorten this up for the sake of space in what we're going to do next. What are we going to do next? So I'm just selecting each of these clips and hitting delete to get back to our wide shot. Isn't that a beautiful sunrise from this morning? Medium shot, and then that medium shot's taking a little too long. Trim it up, and then our close-up. Some of the other tools that you can get to here, so try to memorize those. Select is A, and position is P. There are only certain things you can do with those. Zoom is Z. So if I hit Z, I turn into a magnifying glass, and I can zoom in and get more precise with how I'm making my edits. If I want to zoom back out, I hold down Option and click. And then I just hit A to go back to my selector tool, do a little more trimming, go to P to move some clips around a little bit, like that. If I want to get rid of that space, I just have to select it and hit my delete key. Another good one to use is blade, that's B. Notice that it turned to a razor blade. Don't cut yourself, it's sharp. I click on the clip and it splits a clip for me. And then I go back to the selector tool, A. Can't do much, but how about if I go to P, position tool, I can drag some of that out of the way. I messed up my clips there, so I'm going to hit Command Z, my favorite move. I can also drag to select multiple clips and then move them over. So that is how we're doing that. So you have your different tools. We did our select tool, position tool, blade tool, zoom tool. Trim tool can be handy. I go to trim tool for T. Notice what happens. It's just one clip gets longer and the other one gets shorter as I drag. So as you get to know those with the shortcuts, A, P, Z, B, T, you get pretty fast at editing. I'm just going to throw a fade at the end of this last shot here. The next thing that we will do is share this, because what's the point of going through all this editing, all of this cutting, if we can't use it to really cut through all the nonsense and reach somebody's heart with our message?